Welcome to Blueprint 2020. This is the product update and outlook. It is more or less the roadmap for where we're going. My name is Cliff Isaacson. I head up product strategy here. This is also a good chance to introduce two other team members that are key to this organization. In fact, let me show you the whole organization, besides just Raj and Praveen. So what does the team look like? Meet the team. I would encourage anybody to reach out, not just directly, but if you have any questions, reach out to your Lifeline team member and they can put us in touch with the requisite professionals on the team who can answer your questions. So who are we? My name is Cliff Isaacson, head up product strategy, as well as in charge of pricing and some new platform and supply chain planning activities. And we are very lucky to have Praveen join us. You're probably familiar, many of you are familiar with him from the work he's done, incredible work he's done with integrated business planning and getting that solution up and running and really designed and built for many of our customers and getting it out to market. And he's certainly earned a lot of credibility and a lot of experience in managing a product. So we're happy to have him on the product strategy team now to help out with integrated business planning, of course, and also supply chain planning. And the other person that I mentioned earlier is Raj. He's the chief data and analytics officer, and he heads up the significant amount of optimization work that we do here now around demand forecasting and replenishment and all the other things that we're now doing that I will talk about going forward. Things around machine learning, things around some pricing initiatives, causal forecasting, some great work being done right now. But let's look at some of the other people on the team who are doing some great work and have been with the business and adding value for a long time. Lori, many of you have met, who is a consummate professional with deep experience in supply chain planning and integrated business planning. Willie has also been with the team for a number of years and added a ton of value in defining requirements and taking what is a business requirement to the development team to make sure it's addressing customer needs, particularly around supply chain planning. Brian is another person joining the team that we're lucky to have. You're familiar with Brian potentially in all the work he's done in customer success. He is now officially joining the product strategy team to head up some of the supply chain planning design initiatives that we're doing, along with Lori and Willie. Supriya, you may or may not have met, but she has done an incredible job for a long time now in supply chain planning and moved over and really helped to drive the functional requirements around pricing. And so I've been working very closely with her over the last year and a half, and she's done a great job, and she's helping out as well in some of the next gen work that we're doing. And then Jose. Jose is somebody who has done a lot of research and development and work in solving real world problems using machine learning technologies and added to our toolkit. And we're incredibly lucky to have Jose. So great team. I'm privileged to be able to work with these people. And what we're going to be talking about going forward is really the result of a lot of their hard work. So I'm going to put this out there. It's something I try to precede any roadmap presentation with, which is really, not necessarily a legal statement as much as an acknowledgement that anytime I present the roadmap, we're a customer-driven organization and the roadmap's going to change. It's going to certainly change as customers provide feedback, as we engage and you talk to me or other people on the team, and we talk about other things that need to be out there to address your customer needs. So, I am happy to talk about the roadmap as it exists today, but I want further conversations. This is the start of the conversation, not the end of it, in terms of what our roadmap looks like today. And just like a telescoping horizon, I feel more confident in what we're immediately working on today and some of the work that's been done versus further out in the future, which is, of course, subject to change. So, what is driving our decision-making process? What helps us prioritize what is meaningful to customers, as well as not getting trapped in commodity functional incremental improvements that would allow us to get bypassed by longer term thought that keeps us ahead of the game. So some of the things that are driving us are really the investment that Raj and Jose are putting into machine learning techniques, because we see advantages there in their application to today, in the capabilities we have today that have already been put into the solution around replenishment, around pricing, and around tactical and strategic forecasts. In the future, we see more and more value coming from machine learning. We see value in optimizing to business objectives. Why stick with point solutions? Let's provide tools that are machine learning driven. But if you're familiar with us, we really try to stay away from a black box approach and be very clear in what recommendations we're making to get you comfortable. We're not going to toss recommendations over the fence and hope you accept them. We want to back it up with why we're making the recommendation. Exception management, and we believe this is important. If you're familiar, we have auto approval mechanisms, and I'm familiar with that on the replenishment side and the pricing side, and how you manage thresholds, how you reduce details and time-consuming activities to get to focusing on very strategic activities, running a pricing strategy, doing order cycle optimization, or evaluating a forward buy. And these are things that we feel are important, not only to stay transparent in the recommendations, but to drive towards more dynamic thresholds that allow you to auto-approve certain activities, and then really focus on the exceptions that are driving big forecast exceptions, big replenishment exceptions, big pricing exceptions. A strategic focus, that is what exception management drives us towards, which is getting people up a maturity curve to spend more time and freeing them up to spend more time around high value activities like forward buying opportunities, like strategic buys, like spending more time making supply chain and replenishment and demand forecasting and pricing decisions that really serve your customers. App-like simplicity, we are in the middle of looking at and steadily improving our user interface. And part of that is exception management and how we can tie things towards that. And we want to continue to march towards app-like simplicity that allows things to be very clear and concise in what our recommendations are. Business intelligence and analytics is part of that. So we want to maintain some simple and easy to use analytics and recommendations, but also be able to conform and customize based on customer activities as well. We are cloud-based. We espouse the values of a cloud-based solution, which is really enhancements that drive best practices to all of our customers, and really to drive to a network effect. And that's what really has allowed us to help to optimize recommendations for your business, but then allow you to collaborate outside of your business, downstream to your customers and upstream to your suppliers. We feel that's an important part of being a cloud-based solution. And then finally, the sixth pillar that drives how we prioritize enhancements and new capabilities that we're introducing to our solutions is seamless integration. Get people up and running quickly. It's what we're trying to be very refined in what are out-of-the-box analytics and capabilities. And then as you get integrated fast, we've invested a lot in quick connects and connecting and getting data in and out of multiple systems so that we can support getting you up and running, getting value out of the system, and then unlocking other capabilities. So what do our solutions look like today? So broadly speaking, it's all about a better demand plan. It's about a better demand forecast, knowing that no statistical forecast is going to be perfect. We understand this, but we want to do the best job we can because that forecast, encapsulates what is planned against. And you're familiar with supply chain planning being driven off of a demand forecast and the replenishment that happens against that. What has been introduced over the last couple of years is integrated business planning to take things beyond a statistical forecast to allow sales and operations to negotiate and come to a consensus plan. And that is tightly coupled with supply chain planning because we feel that it's important that when you can really enhance the forecast accuracy of a statistical forecast by taking into account what people are seeing in the field, what your salespeople are seeing in the field with customer activities, with shifts that you're seeing in customer demand, both types of customers and this bottom-up, top-down plan that is part of integrated business planning. And we feel that replenishment and demand forecasts adjust and impact inventory levels. And inventory can be costly. It ties up a lot of working capital. And so that's why it's been one of the drivers to introduce price optimization and price optimization and management, because it certainly goes beyond price optimization to negotiated pricing, sales guidance for your sales team, promotional activities, bundled pricing. There's a lot of complexity to pricing, but we feel that pricing, particularly on price sensitive channels, if you're selling online, if you're a retailer, you're very familiar with the impact of price on a demand forecast. And so we feel that those need to be tied closely together, and we are working towards tighter and tighter integration so that when a promotion or a price is approved and changed, that immediately can get reflected as quickly as possible into a demand forecast. This is all based on a cloud-based solution, so we feel that all of this works together to get to a better forecast, but it also is a way of collaborating on that forecast. And it's not just a demand forecast, it's also what are planned prices in the future. What is a replenishment recommendation over the planning horizon? And how can you share that information upstream to your suppliers so that you can collaborate with them and really manage volatility of supply? On the flip side, a future price really needs to be driven off of what is customer behavior. And that change in price is going to change your forecast in the long term, this longer term forecast. And that needs to be driven from your customers. And a cloud-based solution allows you to be more tightly integrated with customers so that you can get outside your own four walls and really understand customer demand and customer demand volatility, as well as upstream to supplier volatility, and manage that better. So what does the 3-year plan look like as we get outside of this iron triangle, that I would call it, that drives to a better forecast? So the 3-year plan really takes what is a core supply chain planning and demand forecasting solution and brings it to a new platform. We know that data at its most detailed form, typically at an invoice level for distributors, but we've worked with enough retailers and have enough retail customers that point of sale is potentially another direction to go in terms of detailed transactional data from a demand perspective. That requires a step change in scalability. And so we have this new platform, pricing has now been stood up on it, and we're working towards adding more enhancements to it. And really, what that means is we can peer across customers, not to share their data, but to leverage these machine learning capabilities to really understand patterns and get better at demand forecasting. Many of our customers have very large assortments, and that introduces complexity. We feel that solving a distributor problem helps us to better solve a retail problem and a manufacturing problem, because these very large assortments have intermittent and lumpy demand items that can be very difficult to forecast. And that can tie up a lot of working capital. It can tie up a lot of investment in inventory. So machine learning techniques can be, derived and drive down into this bed of data that this platform supports to do better recommendations. And these subtle notches that connect in is really meant to connect in this centralized integrated demand planning service that we're building out that really drives inventory optimization. And it's not just on the new platform. It's really meant to also be the tight coupling between a pricing lift that's associated with price or promotion changes and how that can filter in and impact supply chain planning forecasts. So we are not abandoning the capabilities and the platform we have today. This is a way of enhancing it. And you can see from the later slides when I walk through what's been delivered in 2019 and 2020 and what we have planned. It's really further investment in this supply chain planning and demand forecasting capability. One of the advantages of this platform is also getting into more advanced replenishment and integrated business planning to really take it to the next level. And then I want to talk about capacity planning. It's something that we've heard from customers. We hear you, and it's we have a lot of understanding of what your inventory looks like over the planning horizon. And capacity planning can mean many things. It can mean for a manufacturer a rough gut capacity plan, but it can also mean capacity planning throughout your supply chain. Where are you inventory constrained by warehouse or by echelon, and what does that look like over the planning horizon? How can we understand rough constraints, not just inventory impacting that capacity plan, but what are your inbound and outbound labor constraints? What are your transportation capacity constraints, and how can they be incorporated into a replenishment plan and an inventory plan to understand those capacity constraints and better help you to manage your business? And then finally, it goes without saying, business intelligence analytics to provide very clear and concise recommendations, as well as customer-specific analytics, because we know by industry or by customer, there are unique requirements and analysis, and we have a deep bed of data. We want to offer that up to you to solve specific problems. And the customer success team really focuses on delivering value, and we feel that analytics is a key part of that, making sure that we're solving your problems, tracking your KPIs, so further investment in more business intelligence. So when we peer out through the turbulent waters of the 2020 supply chain planning and replenishment and pricing environment across these different verticals that you operate in, what does a 5-year plan look like for us? It really means partnerships and unlocking capabilities beyond what we have today. We know we can't build everything to address everything that our customers need, organically by building it out ourselves. We need to partner to build out these capabilities, and really that is also a driver for this new platform, for this scalable platform that has connectors with it so that we can connect in. And you'll see some of the components of this around data discovery agents, because there are third-party sources of data that can enhance a forecast, that can enhance replenishment recommendations or pricing recommendations. Things like weather, things like macroeconomic factors, many of the things that are actually industry specific. There's other things that we want to tap into. I mentioned demand sensing, what can influence a short-term statistical forecast, but we're also looking at other things that are provide better visibility into your supply chain and really reduce the risk of some of this customer demand, and more importantly, perhaps your supplier volatility. and that's network visibility. How can we pull in network visibility and even some freight optimization through partners that allow you to reduce the risk of inbound and outbound inventory? Because what can really build up as representative of safety stocks and impact service levels is volatility, is risk. And that is built into a safety stock recommendation. And the more we can reduce that risk through visibility and execution visibility, the more we can help you to free up working capital. You know, we have some other capabilities that we're partnering on that we believe are important. You know, automated replenishment and e-procurement, capacity planning, and even some lightweight manufacturing execution to partner with. You know, which has a lot of complexity to it, but as we connect in, and many of our customers are distributors that also have a retail operation, that have a light manufacturing operation, and we're trying to help you, you know, leverage the data we already have and the solutions we already have to really drive out additional capabilities there. You know, assortment planning is a challenge, so we're looking at ways of enhancing that so that you can do SKU rationalization on a more holistic approach. PIM and e-commerce, because we're seeing a lot of growth in our customers selling on e-commerce channels, and we know that's an important growth area across the supply chain. And then finally, CPQ, which is configure, price, quote, and how do you do quotations in complex environments. And then finally, this other block, which is network optimization and optimization to business objectives. I mentioned this before, leveraging some of our toolkit on the platform to really not just optimize solution recommendations, but help you to allocate resources to optimize and achieve corporate objectives. And we feel that part of that is going to be reached through business intelligence and solutions that are really start to become more targeted towards individual industry segments that we serve. So what have we delivered up to this point? I think the takeaway is we are really customer driven. You know, quite a lot was delivered in the last 12 months. And you know, what we want to highlight here is we truly are customer driven. A large proportion of what's been delivered really came about through customer requests. And I think the highlights here is, you know, some of these things around best bracketing, deal analysis, on-hand and on-order exports, some of the connectors we've built out to ERPs and Blue Ridge Connect are all really customer driven. You know, you can see further enhancements. We launched integrated business planning roughly 2 years ago, and that is, you know, switched over to really be driven by customer requirements, you know, with enhancements to workflow, enhanced analytics. You know, I would say that if you want to go into the deep dives on this, there are plenty of sessions. Blueprint is a great opportunity to dive into what is latest releases and latest capabilities and how you can actually unlock them. And Praveen's got some deep dive sessions on integrated business planning, including some roadmap items that are already in plan. So lots of activities over the last 12 months. And, you know, in 2020, further activities. And I'm just going to highlight, we continue to be customer driven. To us, it is all about what our customers need. And, you know, what are some highlights of this? You know, I can certainly talk about pricing and some of the things that our customers are driving towards with value-based pricing, some markdown capabilities, and enhanced new product introduction capabilities. On the supply chain planning side and the integrated business planning side, you know, it's distinctly customer driven. One hidden capability that we launched, did a soft launch on, was around supplier management and really capturing the capacity constraints of our customers' suppliers so that when there's down periods or there's reduced capacity, you can plan replenishment recommendations around those. It's something that not a lot of our customers are using today, but it is generally available and was launched early this year. What are some of the other capabilities? There are going to be plenty of sessions today deep diving into capabilities around the supply chain planning 180 release. But a lot of those were really driven by customer requirements. We heard loud and clear that one of the challenges of our customers is this large assortment and these intermittent and lumpy demand items. And so that really drove this machine learning push into intermittent demand forecasting methodologies and the intelligent min-max replenishment approach. I don't want to, Raj and some of his presentations will talk about these capabilities in more detail, but there's a third leg of this that really drove some of this, which is auto selection of forecasting methodologies and the significant improvements that it took to really help to, it's not just about adding to the toolkit, but it's about selecting which tool is best used in the forecasting and replenishment toolkit. And that was a big step forward for us and a big investment. Some of the other capabilities that we can talk about, audit trail for demand history, standalone demand classification, help to drive this auto selection capability, some ROI simulation. This is really underselling all the capabilities that were in 180. But I really wanted to focus here on some of the things that are coming. And by the way, integrated business planning, also some investments in new capabilities. So let's look at what's coming up. Certainly more, what I would say the broad categories are customer-driven requirements around enhancements to roles-based access, some status flagging updates, and an enhancement to scheduled low stock point adjustment are highlights that I wanted to point out. As well as multi-echelon inventory optimization enhancements. We know that there's a lot of dependent demand that flows up through complex echelons and supply chain plans. And, we need some enhancements there to really drive some customer requirements here, both in visibility and in understanding different key inputs as they come in across an entire region to drive this replenishment plan across a multi-echelon network. And then finally, this other piece, which is further enhancements to auto selection to really unlock more machine learning tools and some of the things that we want to enhance for IMM. So additional enhancements and some mass maintenance activities that would help unlock this for more customers. And then peering out certainly gets a little fuzzier and more subject to change further out in the planning horizon. But we will continue to invest in auto selection enhancements to do better selection of forecast methodologies. And certainly this is going to be driven by machine learning. And then some step change enhancements in forecasting with causal forecasting and some ongoing work that we already have in progress. Some auto-regressive forecasting enhancements, and then finally some further machine learning enhancements to unlock better forecasting across a broader assortment. So not just the intermittent demand items that are really driving a lot of challenges for many of our customers, but unlocking some additional machine learning capabilities to address those A items, those fast-moving items, and get to a better forecast accuracy. Hope this makes sense. My comments here, this is subject to change, and talk to us. We're always trying to listen to our customers and determine what is the best way of adding value to our customers. So how can you give us input? We have many different ways of doing that. One of them is through a customer enhancement request, and that can be driven through directly submitting this to my team, the product strategy team, and the business analysts and the product managers. All of us are willing to lend an ear to understand how the solution can be improved to solve your problems. There are also some other ways of doing that through your Lifeline team. The customer success team is always regularly trying to figure out how our customers can get more value from the solution, and they're a great way of reaching out. We have another mechanism, which is customer voting. And we try to use this when we can get input from customers and when it makes sense. But this is something we try to use on a selective basis in the release planning process. We also have a product council. It's open to all customers. It is periodic. We try to focus on industry verticals. And a part of this was what drove the conversations we had a couple of months ago in the spring to really get peer discussions going on what are challenges facing different verticals: wine and spirits, food and beverage, durable goods, some of the different core verticals that are driving our requirements. And then finally, we do have a customer advisory board. We try to meet every 6 months, and it's really our largest customers solving very complex problems to talk about strategic drivers that they're seeing in the industry. So I think the takeaway here is we have many different ways of getting customer input, and we're willing to lend an ear. The one that's the biggest and that I'd say would drive the most activity is speaking to your Lifeline rep, or talking directly to people on my team, the product strategy team. So with that, I'll thank you for joining. If you have any questions, reach out. My email address, cliff.isaacson@blueridgeglobal.com. If you use the Blueprint app, my contact information is in there. Or reach out. There's plenty of other people and experts at Blue Ridge who are happy to answer your questions. I probably underserved some of the other breakout sessions at Blueprint, but I would suggest that if you have detailed questions, dive in. Use this as an opportunity to learn more, maybe get some more value out of the solution. With that, I'll close this out. If you have any questions, I will make this presentation available. If you need it, please just reach out. Otherwise, enjoy Blueprint for 2020, this virtual event, and thank you for joining.